my 50,000 euro bike collection. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a secret bike that you don't know I have. Stay tuned, it won't disappoint. Let's get into it and start off with the smallest bike in the bunch, the jump bike. Let's go. This is a really special bike to me, and I think a bike that everyone should have. I think it's the most important bike to get your skills. I landed my first backflip on this bike.
Yo!
Yeah!
Also had a few big crashes, but great for dirt jumps, great for pump tracks. Actually, I would say this is probably my first mountain bike. I got a jump bike for the first time when I was about 16, moving away from BMX. Let's have a look at the specs. Here we got the XTR crankset. You're not going to find a crankset like this on many jump bikes. We got the Spank Spoon 32 wheel set, bomb-proof wheels. And then we've got the Shimano XTR brake levers over here. The same brakes I've actually got on my downhill bike. SR Suntour custom-made Oron forks here, 100mm. They don't actually sell these. I run the forks as hard as I can, as most people do on a jump bike. We've got the Crank Brothers Stamp 7 flats here. Pro bike gear, bar and stem, seat and seat post. I think they retail for like 1,200 bucks. But yeah, let's move on to bike number 2. This is my 2022 Scott Ransom Enduro bike. I've got a new one, which I'll show you a bit later, but this is my one from last year. It's actually currently for sale. It's got 170 miles of travel. Great all-rounder. You can go to the bike park. You can do some pedaling on it. You can even ride some road on it. I don't own a road bike. Full 29, full XTR Shimano build kit on here. It's got pro bike gear, thermal dropper and saddle, bars and stem. SR Suntour Duralux 36mm fork, fender tires front and back. Enduro bike is probably the bike I spend the most time on. And yeah, riding in South Africa on this thing is sick because it climbs super well. And I don't have my e-bike there, which I'll be showing you later. This bike actually comes with what they call a twin lock, which has got a lockout from the lever, which is remote for the fork and the shock. Really efficient for pedaling. All internally routed, full carbon, and retails for almost 10,000 euros. Absolutely love this bike, but I've got a new Enduro bike, which I'll be showing you up next. My 2023 Scott Genius ST tuned. You can't even see the rear shock. It's this new technology by Scott, which is pretty wild. The rear shock is actually inside the frame, and underneath here is a little button. That's where the rear shock sits. Adjustments are at the bottom of the shock, so you can do rebound, compression, air pressure, everything you need. So this is 150 mil travel. I've got on actually 170 mil fork up here, which is pretty wild as well. All the cables are coming through the headset, so there's no holes in the frame, which is the new technology from Scott as well. Of course, I'm running pro bike gear, dropper post, bars and stem. I'm running a full XTR Shimano build kit on the bike. Crank Brothers pedals, of course, and these pedals are insane. They've won more downhill and world championships in the last, I think, 15 years than any other pedal. Running the Spank 350 wheels, are very similar to the 359s. They've just got a slightly lower profile. Running this little rubber bumper here from STFU, which just quiets the bikes down nicely. They retail now for over 11,000 euros. You can buy a motocross bike with an engine, quite new, like a year old. You can buy it cheaper than buying one of these. So something to think about. Now let's move on to the e-bikes. The 2022 Scott Ransom tuned e-ride. This was my first e-bike. It's from last year. I've got a new e-bike, which I'll show you in a bit. But this bike, honestly, has been my favorite bike overall, I think, in my whole life. I know I joke around about hating e-bikes, but I probably spent the most time in the last year on this bike. It's 27 kilograms, I know. You got to be strong to ride this thing. I've actually done another video on YouTube, which I go through exactly why you should get an e-bike, and I'll pop that right up here. It's full 29. Again, some of the parts are a little bit different to what I've been running, but still XTR all round. Pro bike gear, it's full aluminium, and it's 180 mils of travel. You literally just leave the brakes and it plows through things like a tractor. This bike retails for about 7,500 euros, which is the stock build kit. A little bit different to this. It comes with SRAM drive chain and things like that. If you want to get one bike that you can do some cross country on, you can do downhill on, you can do anything like that, e-bike is the way to go. This bike is also for sale. Next up, we'll move on to my new e-bike. The 2023 Scott Patron ST900 tuned. Let's get into it. The technology in this thing is insane. Everything's integrated. Moving down here to the motor first off. 750 watt battery. Bosch motor. The battery slides right in here at the bottom of the tubing. You just pop this cover off and the battery slides inside, which is nice and neat. It's got a massive battery on, so more riding equals more fun. Shifting here, full electronic SRAM shifting. And as you can see here, normally you've got a battery on the AXS here, but this has got a cable running to a little connector here. The main battery is powering the shifting at the back. But the downside is if you run out of battery on the main battery, then you can't shift.
Oh my God!
And it's fully carbon, except for the rear chainstay, that's aluminium, I think just to give a little bit of extra strength on there. Moving up here to the front, we've got the integrated headset like the Genius. As you can see, the cables coming out of here. This is the power switch. Unfortunately, there's no battery in the bike now, so I can't show you. It's actually got rear tail lights. Why you want to have rear tail lights on a e-bike, I don't really know. The rear shock, which is also pretty special, is inside the top tube. So if you look here, the rear shock is tucked away nicely in the top there, which is pretty convenient, just keeping it clean when you're riding in muddy conditions. I love the heavier bike, and after I spend time on the e-bike and I go back to the trail bike or even the downhill bike, it feels sketchy, just because the extra weight makes the bike feel like a tank. You plant it on the ground, gives you more grip, more stability, and just gives you more confidence in general. This bike retails for almost 12,000 euros, which is just insane. And so without further ado, let's move on to my favorite bike, the downhill bike. This is my baby, Scott Gambler tuned 2023, full carbon fiber. This is my bike that I've been racing with, been racing World Cups, been racing various ICS Cup around Europe. Had some big crashes. I'm running some interesting little setups on the bike as well. I've got some weights on the front here, which you'll notice. It's 1 kilogram of weights. Just gives the bike a bit more stability, gives it more traction. The bike's super light. The weight takes it to about 17.5, and for me, it's made a huge difference. Then I've got an O chain on here. What happens is when the suspension compresses, it actually pulls down on the chain and causes that to pull back into your feet. So we call that pedal kickback. And with that device, it minimizes that greatly, which means you've got more traction. It's not so hard for your legs. You have a smoother ride. Then I've got some little dampers on here, your chain from slapping around. Both the fork and the shock are not what you can buy on Pro Bike Gear bars and stem. Shimano brake set. These are the Spank 359 Vibracore wheels. The downhill bike, you can't beat it. It's insane, but it's probably the bike I spend the least time on. The retail price of this bike is about 10,000 euros. Without further ado, I'm now going to show you guys the secret bike, and it's got some serious advantages. Let's check it out. Before I show you the final bike, if you could hit that like and subscribe button, and if you want to drop a comment, that would be awesome. So, here we go. The final bike. You ready? The city bike. Now, and it's got a couple of advantages. The first one being, it's got a shock on the seat post. So when you're riding, you never have to worry about smashing your balls, because when you hit a speed bump, this thing just soaks it right up. Didn't even pay for the bike. It just was given to me at double handlebar height at the same time. So there's no need to like take your stem apart and adjust the bar height. Other thing, there's no maintenance on this bike. Absolutely no maintenance. You can see it's snowing right now. Forks on here that have never been serviced. You got this sweet little rack at the back here where you want to put in like a spare tire or something like that. Maybe you want to pop your helmet on there. I really love this, and I might get one for my downhill bike now. We've got the kickstand. Look at that. I actually sometimes need this when I'm racing, because like in race runs and stuff, you're catching people and then they won't move out of the way. I'm actually going to put this bike to the test in coming weeks by doing some challenges, and I'm going to put this against my Enduro bike. I'm going to try some tricks on it and really see how far I can push the city bike. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one.